Mission Impossible! The Final Reckoning! Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to sit through an hour of bad filmmaking before something actually f***ing happens. This message will now self-destruct in 5... Oh, f***. Nah! Is this the grand finale this franchise deserves? I've been back on board since Ghost Protocol. Each entry since felt like it was climbing towards something legendary. Final Reckoning, though, it felt more like a eulogy, a funeral slideshow of all the cool things this series once did, instead of a movie that adds something new. I want to tell you to rush out to a theater to see this, but there's one issue that stops me. The film doesn't start with a caper, no adrenaline, no bang. Instead, you get, let me check my notes, a fucking briefing, then another briefing, then a rebriefing on the last briefing. There are flashbacks, flash forwards, flash fucking words. At one point, I stopped counting and just accepted the truth. This isn't Mission Impossible, it's Mission Recap. The entire first half of the film is basically a dramatic PowerPoint. They knew they didn't have much of a story, so they loaded the script with callbacks like...
Remember Chewbacca again? Oh, I love to remember Chewbacca.
Yeah, I remember that.
Sorry about the next 2 hours, but hey, you remember? You liked the old movies? You like this one too. If you can survive that hour of redundant shit, you'll finally get some cool visuals and exciting action. Then it's smooth sailing. Wait, what did you say? It's not? Oh, fuck. But before we get to the rest of the shit, let's talk about what actually works. The man, the myth, the legend! Tom Cruise. But when the script gives him room, he delivers. The visuals and action sequences, they're beautiful, genuinely exciting on a big screen. But are they the best in the series? No. You'd expect them to be, since this is the grand finale. But honestly, the previous films, they felt bigger. Kind of like Last Puppeteer's hand. Don't get me wrong, Tom's final stunt sequences are very impressive, and I'm sure they were extremely dangerous, but on a whole, meh. Maybe it was the vehicles they used that made it feel old-timey, and I was just expecting something more grandiose since the world was coming to an end. But one thing they nailed is when they managed to bring back a legacy character in a way that actually matters. That's how you do callbacks to earlier films. So with a slow-ass intro, a mediocre payoff, I'm disappointed. Here's why. Ah, yes, the classical Tom Cruise teleport run. No GPS, no intel, just sprint. Why do they continue to make him running such a big deal? I think because he was trying to outrun all the script notes. Could have used a few. And then there's the...
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
And wow, what a missed opportunity. This was supposed to be the last ride, the final assignment. But instead of elevating it, giving us something new and worthy of the legacy, they just shoved it into one of the exposition dumps. Imagine. That moment comes and gets the drop, but it's not from his handlers. It's from the entity. Twist the tradition. Flip the threat. Raise the tension. Would you get your hands off the screen? You're ruining my moment. That would have been a moment worth remembering. Instead, it's background noise. Speaking of the entity, you'd think an all-knowing AI villain would do something. We're told it's everywhere, watching everything, one step ahead. But then, it just kind of lets shit happen. So, if the entity doesn't show up, who does the villainy? Enter Gabriel, a guy with a classic villain with a gun problem. Kills when the script needs him to. Other times, he just stands there monologuing. You're a terrorist, not a theater kid. Pull the trigger! These deaths don't feel earned. They feel scheduled. And that's the problem with the entire movie. That it forgets how to tell a compelling story. Everything feels like an obligation. You want proof? Let's talk cameos. There's so many, I almost fucking got one. There's actors from Severance, Ted Lasso, and even Nick Offerman. They all pop in for 5 lines of exposition and then disappear. They're clearly compensating for something. Maybe a small story. You see, you thought you were gonna need the buzzer, but I didn't say shit. Come on! So they inundate us with all these member berries, cameos, instead of spending time with characters we actually care about. Where's Vanessa Kirby's Alana? Never mentioned. What a waste. And I have to say it. Sorry, Rebecca. They did you wrong. She had an unearned death in the last film, which was basically just a simple swap for Tom's love interest. Rather than extending an already established emotional arc, they snubbed it out and decided to restart it again in the final film. And don't get me started on the cross-cutting dialogue scenes. You know the ones. 2 teams in totally different places, somehow talking about the same thing at the exact same time. Not because it's suspenseful, because it's supposed to feel smart. It's not. It's what happens when you realize your scenes have no conflict. It's the cinematic version of the shell game. Or like using a puppet to do a movie review. Final verdict, if you've been on this ride since the beginning, there's just enough here to justify a ticket. Cruise's stunts, a few nostalgic notes, and the hope that this really wasn't the end. But if you were hoping for a spy thriller finale with brains, stakes, and emotional payoff, this ain't it. The mission was simple, but they made it impossible. Seriously? That's how you're going to end this? Fuck your lamb.